For this lesson, you need to open the sample file Inventory 10 from your Sample Files folder. I'm going to begin this lesson by removing the conditional formatting from column G. To do that, I click within the table and then Home on the ribbon, and in the Styles group Conditional Formatting, then Clear Rules, and Clear Rules from this table, and the conditioning formatting has gone. I now need to convert the table into a range. You must convert the table into a range because you cannot add subtotals to tables. So I click once inside the table, Table Tools Design, and in the Tools group, Convert to Range. And the table has now become a range, enabling me to add automatic subtotals. I want to add subtotals for each category to the In Stock and Value columns. The important first step before you try to add subtotals is to alphabetically sort the column by which you want to subtotal. And in this case, it's the Category column, so I'll click anywhere in the Category column, and then Data on the ribbon, and in the Sort and Filter group, I'll click A to Z to sort my categories in an A to Z order. Now you can see that that puts each category together in one group, and that's going to be important for my subtotals because it's going to add a subtotal every time the category value in column B changes. So to add the subtotals, I click anywhere in the range and then Data on the ribbon, and in the Outline group, Subtotal, and the Subtotal dialog appears. And you can see that the first item is At Each Change In, and all of the fields in the range are listed. And because I've alpha sorted by category, if I choose At Each Change in Category, a subtotal will be inserted every time the value in column B changes. In other words, I'll get a Beverages subtotal after row 12. So I click Category and then choose my summation method. Well, sum is what I want. I want the totals at the bottom of each column. But you can see that there are many other summation methods as well, but I'm going to stay with sum. And now, which columns would I like subtotals to appear beneath? Well, the only ones that make sense in this worksheet are In Stock and Value. It wouldn't make any sense to subtotal by unit price. So I'll select In Stock. Value was automatically guessed by Excel. I now click the OK button and something amazing has happened to the worksheet. First of all, the subtotals have appeared beneath each column. You can see the beverages total there, and also the totals for every other category of product. Also, an outline bar has appeared on the left-hand side of the worksheet. I can do many things with the outline bar. First, there are 3 buttons at the top of the bar, enabling me to collapse to 3 different levels. Let's try clicking the 1 button, and you'll see this just gives me the grand total for all items. The 2 button gives me the total for each category, and the 3 button gives me both the subtotals and each item that was used to calculate the total. Notice also the expand and collapse buttons that are within the outline view itself. If I click the minus next to beverages total, the outline collapses to only show the total, and I can collapse all of the other totals in a similar way. And as well as being able to collapse categories, I can also expand categories, and I expand by clicking the plus buttons. So if I wanted to know all of the products that were used in order to calculate the confections subtotal, I'd just click the plus and all of those items would appear again. Let's now remove the subtotals from the range. To do that, I click anywhere in the range, Data tab on the ribbon, in the Outline group, Subtotal, and I click the Remove All button, and everything goes back to normal again. Let's now look at some of the subtotal options. So I'll first click inside the range, then Data, Outline, Subtotal. Everything's the same as before, so I'll click OK, and I've added subtotals. Now suppose I wanted 2 subtotals. I wanted the total for each category group, but I also wanted the averages for each category group. How can I add another subtotal without removing the existing one? Well, let's see how that's done. I click inside the range, Data, Outline, Subtotal, and I want you to focus on the three options at the bottom of the dialog. The last two are quite obvious. Summary below data will put that level 1 total in, a grand total for all of the categories. Page break between groups will put a page break between groups. It means that each category and its subtotal will appear on a different page in the printed printout. But the first one, replace current subtotals, what's that used for? Well, that is when we want to have multiple subtotals. If I was simply to select another subtotal, such as the average that I was talking about a moment ago, and I leave this checked, when I click OK, the average replaces the sum. But if I was to go back to a sum function and uncheck replace current subtotals, when I click OK, I'm left with both the total and the average. Now let's go back to just having a sum again by clicking the subtotal and then check the replace current subtotals checkbox. And when I click this time, I'll expect the sum function to replace both the current sum function and the average, leaving me with just the total. Let's now cover a very common request in my classroom courses, and that is, how can I copy the subtotals, that is the level 2 outline, to another worksheet? Because when you copy and paste in the normal way, here's what happens. I'll try to paste onto sheet 4, and when I paste, I get all of the transactions as well as the subtotals. And I just wanted the subtotals. Well, here's how I do that. I go back to the inventory worksheet and I click Home on the ribbon. In the editing group, Find and Select. Then go to Special, and one of the options here is Visible Cells Only. If I click this option and then click OK, I've only selected the cells I can see on the screen. And if I now right-click in any cell and copy, when I paste this time, I get the results that I wanted, just the subtotals and no transactions. Well, I'll return to the inventory worksheet now, and I'll remove the subtotals from the range. So I click inside the range, and that's Data on the ribbon, Outline, Subtotal, and Remove All. And all that remains now is to save your work, and I'm going to save with the new name Inventory 11. And as usual, I'll save to the folder above my sample files folder. I click the Save button, and you've now completed Lesson 2.3, Automatically Subtotal a Range.